Okay, so I'm just going over how we can use Mixamo to get animations. So it should be in our assignments right over here. The add-ons right there. I also have the Spider-Man file here too. So if we go back to Blender, so if we're downloading the add-on, we'll go here. We're just gonna download it right here. So we'll download it. Hopefully it'll stay a zip file, but if it doesn't, you just want to check it in downloads. If you see a folder like this, we just want to right click that folder and compress it so that it's a zip. Then we'll go into Blender, we'll go to File, we'll go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, Install. It should be in our downloads. It should look like this as the zip file, and we'll just install that. When you install it, it'll take a second. So you should see it right here. We're just going to hit that check mark to turn it on. Then when we press N on the keyboard, we should see the Mixamo right here. So if you've already uploaded characters or the Spider-Man file, that's great. Should be something like this. You could find different animations. What we want to do is find one in place. Like if it has it in place, I would say do that. It will make it easier, but we can fix it in Blender if it doesn't say that, which I'll show you. So once we have our animations download, we're going to go to Import, FBX. It should be in my downloads or wherever you put them. Let's see. So walking, I'll import that. Right. So we should see my Spider-Man model, and it should have the animation of him walking, as you can see, right? So once we click on our armature right here, I'm just going to rename this Spider-Man, because once we start getting more animations, it might get confusing. So I'll just name this one Spider-Man. We'll click it. We're going to do create control rig right over here. We'll say OK, and it should create a rig now. So what we want to do is be able to download a bunch of different animations to kind of like piece together what our story is going to be, right? So for this particular assignment, I want you to start finding the animations that are going to help tell our story so that we can start cataloging them. But if I want, so I downloaded a few that I'll show. So let me import those. So import FBX. So I think I got running, front flip, run to roll. So these three, let's see if I can import all three. So I should have them right there. Let me just start moving these over. So they're not right on top. Okay, so now I have all these different animations. So you can see some of them don't stay in place, right? So that's not really what I want to happen. So I need to fix that. So let me grab this one so you could see he's moving forward. I don't want him to move forward because that'll make it hard to piece these together. So I'm going to click right here and I'm going to go to the graph editor. And we'll see all these lines up here, right? So we're going to go into pose mode. And we're going to grab the root, which should be this one. So you could tell that it's this one because if I hit G to move, it should move the whole skeleton without it being weird. So if we open this up, we could see all these. So what we want to do is affect the location so that it doesn't move forward. So I'm just gonna hide these so we're only seeing the location. And I think it's the Z location that's making him go forward. So I hid everything but the Z. So you can see now I have it highlighted. I could press A to select it, and we could make sure that that's correct. So if I hit G, so you could see that he moves forward and back if I move this line. So I'm just gonna press A to select everything. I'm just gonna hit X to delete it, and I'm just gonna delete these keyframes. So once I do that, you could see now he just stays in place, right? He's not rolling forward anymore. So we could do the same for this one. So let's go back into object mode. I'll grab this one. We're gonna go into pose mode, and I'm just gonna grab the root again, which should be this one right here. And again, I'm just gonna open this up, and I wanna hide everything but the Z location, right? And I'm just gonna press, I could just make sure that that's what it is. So you can see this is moving forward and back. So I'm just gonna hit X and delete these keyframes. So now you can see he's just doing his flip in place. So that's what we wanna do to make sure before that's what we wanna do first. All right, so now that we have that, great. Now we can go to our non-linear animation. So right here, we'll click this one again, which should be Spider-Man right here. So this action is walking. So I'm just gonna name this walking, right? Great. And if I press this button right here, it's gonna turn it into a clip, right? So now what I could do, so now this clip will be saved. So even if I delete it, it'll still be here, right? We still have that action for walking right here, right? So for example, now say I want to grab this roll, right? So I'm gonna click on this, right? I'll click back here, and I'm gonna apply animation to control rig, right? And now you could see Spider-Man is doing the roll, is rolling in place. So I'm gonna name this roll, right? I just click on it. I just double click on it to name it. So I'm gonna name it roll. I'll hit this button. It's gonna turn it into an action. I could just delete that now, right? And I could zero out the rig again so it goes back to default. So now I'm gonna grab this one. What is that, the flip? So I'll just hit X here, I use the eyedropper, click this. I'll apply animation to control rig. So now you can see he's doing the flip. I'm just gonna double click on that. I'll call it front flip, I guess, front flip, right? And I could hit that button again to turn it into an action. I'll just delete that, and I'm just deleting it by hitting X. And I could zero this out again, and I'm gonna do the same thing for the running, right? Apply. So now you could see I have a run, right? Again, I'm gonna call this run. Hit, and we'll just do this. And now we have an action for run. So now I could delete this, and I could zero this out, right? So he's back to normal, no animation, right? So what we can do now, I could use those actions to add and build up an animation, right? So for example, they should all be here. So we got front flip, roll, run, walk, right? So say I want him walking first. So we have the walking, right? So say we go up to here, and then say after, you know, I could make a new action, right? So I can click this to make a new action, right? So say instead of walking, I want him to, all right. So we have walking. Can I do run now? Okay. So we'll give walking. We could hit this. So we have the walking. We can go back here. This time I'm gonna do the roll, right? And we could have this. So now that we have this, we could start piecing stuff together. So I can just grab the roll and I can move it down to here. So and extrapolate instead of hold, we're just gonna do nothing. Same thing, like do nothing. So now he should walk and then do his roll, right? And then say, you know, maybe we'll go down here and then say after his roll, maybe he'll start running. So I could add a new action, which will be the run, right? So you could see it. We'll hit down here. I could just click on this. I'm just gonna move that to the end. Just undo. So I can move that over here, right? So now we have him running. So if I wanted him to run longer, if we look at action clip, there's a repeat. So maybe I want him to run like 5 times longer. I could put 5 here so you could see that it repeats this 5 times. So now he's running, and say next, you know, I want to add another action. So I'm gonna add the front flip, right? So I'll just hit down here so that we have the front flip. Let me grab this and I could move that over here. And instead of hold, we just want nothing. Right? And same thing, we want nothing. So now you could see him walking, going into the roll, running, and then him flipping. So I think the run and the roll kind of have a weird clipping thing. So there's bleed ins and things we could do. So maybe we could do something like that. And then we could maybe move that over here a little bit. We could do like a little bleed out there, maybe. Maybe that'll help. Or not. I don't like how that looks at all. Just bring that to 0. So this is how we could start, you know, adding a bunch of different animation clips to our thing to, like, you know, tell a story. So you could see how I added all these 3 or 4, right? 4. But I could keep doing this and add and make this as big as I want it to be. All right, let's try it out. Good luck.